get back to the debate. Biden made gaffe after gaffe last night. Roll it.
What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, there's a lot of young women are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines. I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence.
Wow, I tell you, look at these headlines. Even left-leaning outlets are slamming Biden. Just look at them, all of them. Vivek Ramaswamy with me now. Vivek, it should be clear to everybody that Biden simply cannot be president for another 4 years. My question is, though, how will the Democrats force him out before the election? How are they going to do it?
Well, the reality is, Stuart, the first step was having this debate in the first place. This is the earliest ever televised presidential debate in U.S. history, and the first one that occurred before the nominating convention of either party. That was not an accident. The Democratic camp, supposedly Biden's camp, but it was really the Democratic machine, argued for this and negotiated for this for a reason. The reality is they deserve to be honest with the American people now. Who is actually running the country? Who is in charge of the United States of America? After last night's debate, I don't think there's a single person at home who saw that who believes it's Joe Biden, because it's not. But we deserve a government that tells us the truth. And I think one of the concerning questions for right now, not even the election, I'm talking about today, the next few months leading up to the election, is who is actually leading the United States of America? The Democrats and the White House have not offered a clear answer to that question. And if they tell us that's Joe Biden, we now know that is a lie. And Americans, I think, demand the truth because our security determines and depends on it.
There's supposed to be another debate in September. I think it's September the 10th or the 11th. The 10th, I believe it is. Do you think it'll take place?
I don't think it's going to be a Trump-Biden debate. Trump has no reason to debate. The people of the country saw what they needed to see. Last night was a sad enough spectacle of Joe Biden. Donald Trump did great, but it was a sad indictment of even the existence of a U.S. president who's not even present in the White House today. So I think it would be a disservice to have a Trump-Biden debate. But I do think that the reality is the Democrats may have a very different plan that they have yet to be transparent about with the public. And we're going to have to see what happens in the next 2 months on that front.
Former Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill, she's wondering why Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom aren't throwing their hats in the ring. So, Vivek, who do you think will run if the Democrats push Biden out? Who they got?
Well, look, I think they have a lot of people who are aspiring to that seat, but they have an identity politics problem. They have a Kamala Harris problem. If there's one person who's less popular than Joe Biden, it is actually none other than Kamala Harris, the person waiting if something happened to Joe Biden to take the presidency. So the reality is they have to pick somebody who solves that woman of color label. That's what they've adopted. It's their words, not mine, that I think have shackled their range of choices. I think Michelle Obama checks that box. I think many people who check even one of those boxes of being diverse, I think they're tethered to that in a way that makes it very difficult for them to put up another person that otherwise would fail their own identity politics purity tests. But the reality is plenty of other people want to step up into the void. The reality is they have been non-transparent. They have lied. They've lied about the fact that Joe Biden is running the country. And I think that dishonesty persists no matter who they put up. Funny, Stuart, you were at the debate. When I was at the NBC debate last fall, one of the things I said was the Democrats needed to be honest that it was not going to be Joe Biden as the nominee. It was laughed off by the left as a conspiracy theory then. Well, it's become reality today, and we have to confront that truth.
Indeed, I feel vindicated because that's what we've been saying for a long time. Vivek Ramaswamy, thanks for joining us, sir. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Former Biden White House Communications Director, Kate Bedingfield, she said Biden was really disappointing last night. Roll it.
Yeah, look, it was a really disappointing debate performance from Joe Biden. I don't think there's any other way to slice it. His biggest issue that he had to prove to the American people was that he had the energy, he had the stamina, and he didn't do that. And so I think that is of concern, and I think for a lot of Democrats, that's very disappointing.
It sure is. Lisa Booth joins me now. Biden's debate performance is setting off real loud alarm bells for Democrats. I want to know where you think they go from here. Where do the Democrats and their campaign, where do they go?
Well, let's just say if I were Joe Biden, I probably wouldn't accept any dinner reservation or dinner invitations to the Clinton household at this point. You know, look, you've got Democrats sharpening the knives. You probably have Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom trying to make their case to Democrat donors as well as to Democrat leaders. I'm sure Joe Biden are fielding a lot of calls today trying to encourage Joe Biden to drop out of this race. But I've got to say, Stuart, I want Joe Biden to stay in this race. Anyone who wants Donald Trump to win this election should want Joe Biden to stay in this race. You want Donald Trump to face the weakest candidate he could possibly face. That debate last night would have looked a heck of a lot different with Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom on the stage. So it's time for the Republican Party to expand their line of attack beyond Joe Biden to start attacking the Democrat Party at large. Because, look, Joe Biden's not a terrible president because he's 81. He's a terrible president because he's a Democrat. Look at California, for example. Gavin Newsom's 56 years old. They have the highest taxes, highest unemployment, homelessness, crime, the list goes on, yet they are taxed into oblivion. So this country's failing not because Joe Biden's 81, because he's a Democrat.
Who do you think is the real president? Who do you think is calling the shots? Because it's very hard for us to find out. I mean, the president, his cognitive decline is significant. So who is it? Who's the person behind the curtain? Who's writing his note cards? Who's putting the stuff into his teleprompter? Who's whispering in his ear? Who is this person?
I don't know, but, you know, does it matter? What's more dangerous to me is how much we've been lied to about this. If you remember that Wall Street Journal article trying to take us behind the scenes in a Joe Biden's cognitive decline, Stuart, how many Democrat leaders and cabinet secretaries were on the record telling us, assuring us, everything's fine, there's nothing to see here? We had the media and Democrats accuse Republicans of these cheap fakes, of doctoring these videos, showing Joe Biden in the cognitive decline that we all know that he is, the fact that he's senile, the fact that he's falling apart, the fact that he's not ready for the job, lying to us, accusing Republicans of these cheap fakes when the truth was on the stage last night. And now it's so in Americans' face, they cannot deny it, but they are willing to go to that length, to lie to the American people to that extent, to look us in the face, tell us those lies. The same thing we saw the 51 intelligence officers, former CIA directors, lying to the American people, saying Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation when it was the truth. So that is dangerous, the point where we are now, to the lengths that Democrats and the media are willing to cover up for the Democrat Party. We are in dangerous territory with that. That scares me worse.
I'm with you all the way. Lisa Booth, thanks very much indeed. Good stuff today on an important day too. Thank you.
Take care.